According to Louis Strauss once said, "It is not too much to expect that our children will enjoy in their homes electrical energy that is generated by nuclear power that will be too cheap to meter." Little did he know that his vision would be true. Up until 2005, nuclear power was the primary source of energy. But then as we progressed into 2015, 2014, renewable sources are now more primary. And according to an article on CNN by Dennis Hayes, on April 23rd, nuclear power is now considered to be less cost-effective than renewable energy sources such as solar energy. Now, what does this mean for nuclear power? That it may become obsolete. But why are countries such as Japan and United Nations, why are they implementing nuclear power still? So in order to understand why these changes are happening, we must learn what nuclear power is and how it's created and how it will be impacted in the near future. So I will be talking about three things: the brief history of nuclear power, the modern production of nuclear power, and the future of nuclear power. So let's begin with the brief history. After the discovery of the neutron, scientists tried to do more nuclear transformations. And these transformations were known as nuclear fission and nuclear fusion, with nuclear fission being with the heavier element and nuclear fusion being with the lighter element. Now, when this process happened, it created a lot of thermal energy. In fact, it created over 200 million electron volts, which means that it can charge your iPhone up to 15%, which is not bad. You know, if you're running out of battery, you gotta do something. Why not nuclear power? So, as scientists saw this thermal energy production within nuclear power, they wanted to harness this somehow. And this is where the nuclear bomb comes in, and specifically the Manhattan Project, which was a U.S. secret government project in 1939. It was designed to create nuclear bombs during World War II. But after the war ended, and the Manhattan Project did not need to create bombs, they sought to create nuclear power for commercial use, thus making the first power plants in 1956. Now, that's the history. Now we will be talking about the production. It starts with radioactive materials, which the term radioactive means that the element has an unstable nucleus because it has too many neutrons in it. So if you want to start this reaction, you must first launch a neutron at the target nucleus which you're trying, such as uranium. Now from there it will split into two pieces. It can be equal or unequal, and while it's splitting, it will create thermal energy. Now this is what happens in a nuclear power plant, where the energy is produced through here, and thermal energy then is used to heat water in a steam generator. And from there, the steam is then gone to the turbine, and from there it's used to power the generator and the transformer, which will ultimately distribute the energy or the electricity to the public. Now what happens to that water that was created by the steam? The water molecules are now condensed in the cooling tower. The big smoky, the vapor that you see, that's not actual carbon fuel or anything, that's just water. So people have that misconception that nuclear powers are harmful to the environment in this way. But in fact, they're not really harmful in the waste, but rather in other certain areas. And this is where the developments come in. There were many developments in safety and efficiency. First, I'll be talking about safety. Because they pose a potential threat, such as nuclear accidents or nuclear meltdowns, and nuclear radiation to the public, there were many changes that were needed. Some famous examples for nuclear accidents were like Chernobyl and Fukushima, which is pretty recent. Now, in order to prevent nuclear radiation, scientists made nuclear suits. The one on the left is the one that they used in Fukushima in 2011, while the one on the right is a patent for future nuclear power plants. Now, the efficiency has also been developed since 1956. In fact, according to World Nuclear Association, power plants in 2012 can now produce up to 2,500 terawatts rather than 250 in 1971. Now, how does this affect the future? Well, as more and more energy sources are created, the present ones will become obsolete or need to be improved in order to become a competitor in the new age. So, let's put an example of solar power. It started as a weak energy source and then developed into a pretty major source. Now, in 2012, the U.S. Energy Information Administration stated that 19% of all energy that was in the U.S. was produced by nuclear power, and that 12% was made by solar or renewable energies. Now, what's the difference between these is that the cost. Nuclear power is about $3,000 for 750 kilowatts per hour, and this is per use, not just a one-time price. While renewable energy sources, they only have a one-time price of 1,500, but they produce a slightly less amount of energy, 650 kilowatts. So, what does this mean about why are UN and Japan switching their energy plans to improve or to add nuclear power? Well, this is because that renewable sources are still being improved, and that one day they will make our cities be very green. However, some nations some countries such as Thailand or Taiwan, they are halting their nuclear production and stopping nuclear power plants in their country because it might create cities that will have nuclear radiation. Now, this can be true if nuclear power plants are not improved. However, according to Reuters, on April 11th, MIT and researchers designed a nuclear power plant that will be effective in tsunami-prone areas because it will be floating away from the coast of the area that you want to produce energy for. And that now that we've learned what the future may hold for nuclear power, we can know that there may be some potential problems that it holds, but these potential problems should be improved in order for nuclear power to become a competitor in new ages. And as Albert Einstein once said, to every solution there is another problem.